All right. Um, so I did a bunch of tests this afternoon after work and did a mock-up of the rails, which I kind of posted already on Facebook. But I also took a whole lot of measurements of things. So basically, I wanted to know where the ball would get stuck underneath this ramp. So I measured, you know, in a couple spots to figure out what the clearance is with as this ramp goes down. So I'm gonna kind of lay that out a little bit in CAD, and then I'm going to transfer these rail guides that I took as many pictures as I could uh, into CAD. And this should be the last little sneak area. The drop target is going to kind of go right in here. That way, both upper left and lower left flipper can get the drop target and can hit the pumpkin, depending on how you shoot it. So that is the plan. So let's get back to this. So I'm measuring from the cutout for the ramp foot over to the center of the ball, which is about 1 and 7/8 space. So I'm going to create a new sketch on this. So from the ramp footprint, this down to here, and then there's going to be one from this post up to somewhere over here. So I said this was 1 and 7/8, which is more than enough space for a ball to fit through. And then this other one, okay, yeah, this is when I bent the path in, so this is like 1.5. So let's actually make this 1.5. 1.5. And now this one over here is back this way. Okay, so this is from the ball to the post about 5 1/8. We'll call it 5 1/8, and that brings me. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to make sure this is fixed, and then this bends over to like there. So it's probably going to be a little more like 5 1/4. So between these 2 points is the safe zone. So now it realistically, like I said, this was originally 1 and 7/8. So if I make this dotted down that extra little bit, so from this point to this point should be 1 and 7/8. So the safe zone that the ball just kind of hits the top is basically this line. As long as I stay above that line, the ball can roll perfectly fine. Which means if I take another line from here to here, just a little higher up, just like this was a little lower, and then draw a line from here to here. If I put a rail right there in that spot, the ball can clear it no problem. And this rail would be about an inch tall, roughly, and I'd have no issues. So that's where that's my clearance in this. Okay, so with this sketch done, what I'm gonna actually do is hide or is isolate this just so it's a little cleaner. Now, this is the original sketch that I posted earlier today, thinking that this is what I wanted to do. In reality, this is not what I want to do. Right? I can tighten things up quite a bit and not have to move post holes, which is ideal. So this sketch is of no use. Instead, I'll create a new sketch on here. And starting from here, I'm gonna kind of come up this way. So let's look at this this picture here. So this comes kind of sharp up, right? So this basically comes straight into this post, but this wall kisses against the post with an arc. So if this comes straight into this post, so that's basically that shot there, right? And then this arc comes in a little bit. That's curving in slightly. See if I can get a better shot of this. Not really. Okay. Yeah, this is the best shot I got. But that curves in ever so slightly and kind of goes almost straight up. And then let's add a fillet on here. Fix this. Pull this down here. And now this is in underneath the post a little bit. So if I take this, unfix this, pull this down a little bit to there, that's more or less where that's going. And then curve this, that's pointing at the post. This is, we'll call this 1.5 inches. This has to come in ever so slightly because this post does have some size to it. It can be tight, but it can be done. And then that's effectively going to come straight up. And it just needs to pass this line over here. And that goes right up into where that curve is. Then on this side, this kisses right up against this hole. So I start off at this post, and I kiss right up against this hole and come up. Now this curve is a little further up. So the point of this is actually going to be, this is not going to be vertical. This is going to come up. Whoops. Fix this here. This is going to come up this way a little bit more based on this picture. And you can't really see it, but these two are supposed to basically be parallel at this point, which means I can take these and say make them parallel. And the space between these should be 1.5. That way the ball can get in there. And that allows this curve to be a little bit more. All right. So this curve starts, yeah, because that's got a big belly over here. This is actually wrong. This can only be 1 inch. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Fix this. Only 1 inch. That has a bigger belly there. And that's coming in diagonal that way. More so from this target, I guess. More like that, I think. Straight past that. But the straight, oh, stop moving. The straight does go right past this. Yeah, so coming up this way, this curves up fine. I do actually need to see these posts. Okay, this is clearly wrong, right? Based on the image. This needs to come much closer like that. And then this aims right at that post. This comes... Yeah, this can come up more like this. This can be 1.5. Yeah, all right, good. That can be 1.5, so that's coming in that way. Now, I do have shot guides here. So if I show the shot guide, that's going to go right into this and curve right up. If you see. Yeah, that's going to curve right up. Perfectly fine. Well, that's good. And this ricochets. Now, something that I did here, because it was kind of a pain in the butt to manipulate this stuff where it was. If I don't need to make that as vertical, I don't want to. So something else I did, way back here, you can see this is kind of coming straight past this post. So up in this section over here, that's this post right here. So this is effectively coming down like this. And in that video, it was crossing over on this, if you remember. And that's kind of where it was getting stuck a little bit. Do I have a picture of that? Yeah, so right here, this is a cutout right over there. And I think I might have moved this from there. But if this loops around and becomes tangent, again, I was dealing with certain lengths of metal that I don't necessarily need to have that particular length here. So this, and I do want this to have kind of a steep angle coming down, because that'll throw the ball straight down rather than have it hit the wall and go down. So my exit is going to be over here, or right here. So something else I'm going to want to see is the main ramp. So this flange here is, or this spot right here, is actually too far to the right. So if I take this and pull this more to here, that's the actual spot right there. And I'm going to need to make sure that this is a ball width. So this is going to come more like this, I think. A ball is... I tend to use 1 1/8 for my balls because that'll give an extra little size. 1/8. So things aren't as tight. And this right here is 1 1/8, so that will fit. That's pretty neat. I mean, that'll fit fine. So something that I really do want to do, actually, don't do that. Something I really do want to do, actually, is tighten this curve up quite a bit. Because if this comes up like that, and this stays here, I really want, I want this to stay parallel. So if you remember, down here is where the actual ball height is. So if I pull this over a little bit and just pretend that right here is the actual height, that'll work fine. Right, so one of the reasons I had this pulled up so high is because I can make a point because this actually comes down and around that way. But I don't think I want to do that here. The lower this is, I mean, the more it's going to bang along this wall, but the wider this becomes, and I can still curve this nice and open like. So if I ultimately make 2 rails here, I do want this to be a little smoother there. So this comes like yeah, because that's a wide open space right there for that to dribble down. I do make this more like this. I mean, the parallel line works here best. Let's see, let's make sure this is 1.25. Yeah, let's set this to be 1.25. Because that still crosses my line where I need it crossed right here. And I can fix this here. Yeah, I did move this because this was originally over there more. So this thing, I really don't want to make tight curves like this. Those aren't really all that ideal. Now that's getting into no man's land there at that size. 1 3/16. It's a little more out of no man's land, which is fine. That curve is much bigger. Let's attach that. Oh, I want this tangent. The shallower it is, I mean, that's probably what it needs to be. That goes way up right underneath like the middle part of this ramp. So that's right up underneath the middle part right there. All right, I don't want this to be parallel anymore because I want this to round a little bit more because I can still put a switch right here easily enough so long as that's round. I really do want to tighten this up because if that's nice and tight, that goes up, and if it ricochets a lot, it'll still come down. But if it smoothly glides up, this actually might not want to be parallel. This might need to be vertical. So if this bounces off there, no, I don't. I think I do need it to be slightly diagonal. Though both of them can probably be vertical. So the like I said, the other thing I wanted to do was try to get rid of some of this length here. I really don't think it's needed. So if I keep this fixed, so I can then bend this around. That's obviously not going to work very well. So the ball will kind of hit into this, and it can easily dribble down, and I don't want it to dribble down again. But this might be more accurate, because now I can go like this, and I can go like this. So even if it hits here, it'll still come down through here. And I need to stop having this constantly bling at me. So now this curve is less. This ricochet is less. Let's create a couple more balls so I can check sizes. Okay. So this bounces. I mean, it's gonna rattle a little bit, but that's fine. I do think I want this to be parallel. And that just rattles right up there. And then this, all right, yeah. Now I can make this parallel with that, and it can curve up again. Nope, I don't want you moving. This has a slight curve. This needs to be at least 1/2 inch. This I want to be parallel. This I want to be parallel with this. All right, so if you can see what I'm kind of doing here. No. Stay fixed. Because that comes in and that ricochets up anyways, and that's fine. This I don't want parallel. I know that for a fact now. This, I just want that to come up this way. So when that reflects off of here and bounces up, don't snap to that. Let's look at this image again. This whole thing is curved all along here. That's when it's going more vertical. And I'm getting rid of some of that verticality. So, looking at the shots, this is going to ricochet onto there, and that's going to rattle. Yeah, that'll rattle fine. Let's keep this visible. Basically, what I'm looking at right here is, let's say we take this shot here, and then I draw a reflection line of some type. So when this ball hits this thing, center line, thank you. When this ball hits this thing, that reflects perpendicular. Well, if I align that roughly, you can see right here, from here to here, stop it. From here to here, the angle is 73.4. So here to here, the angle is 73.4. That comes in over there. Okay? So that will go ping that way. And the more offset of that it is, the more straight it will graze because it's going more into this. So way over on this edge, actually, let's get rid of this for a second. If I pull this, stop. This is 1 1/16. If I pull this, oh, you're stuck on that. Way over to here. Whatever. And measure this angle. Because this is more direct 77, I believe. This angle. Here, yeah, that's 73.4. And then this angle should be 73.4. So that's going to ricochet into this. And then if I do the same thing, that's going to ricochet up. And it'll make it up and around. So that should be okay. Let's get rid of all of this. It does kind of make me want to... Oops. curve this ever so slightly more, though. If it'll let me do it. Oh, that's part... I don't want that on that. Oh, give me a break. Okay. So that rounds this a little bit more. So if the ball comes up, it can loop around that. I can round this even more by... This needs to be at least 1/2. Actually, yeah. 5/8 is good for this. And this... Nope. I want to stay fixed there. But now I can pull that kind of that way. And I can pull this kind of up. So that rounds this a little bit more. And with this point being right here, the ball isn't going to rattle out. It'll rattle down onto this thing. Which then actually technically means I can pull this down like here. And I can make this into a curve right here. Or so this can butt right up against this thing. I would like more of a curve like that. I need a little bit of a straight, otherwise it won't sheet metal properly. Let's keep this fixed here because it keeps wiggling around on me. Oh, let's not make this straight because now I can kitty corner it kind of like this. Yeah, maybe. That'll slam down on that, so I don't like that. Stop it. What is going on with this? Get off of that point. So this loops around and goes that way. Okay. I can pull this up. Not make this parallel anymore. I can pull this up to here. I got plenty of space for that. Alright, so I can still get a switch in here. It'll probably be an induction switch or something. And this curve, this exit obviously works fine. This curve will work fine. This is broken up into 2 pieces, which will work fine. This entrance is fine. This target I'm going to pull up a little bit more, I think. That'll also space it away from this thing. That is in my device holes. Pull this target up and over a little bit. I'm going to weight it on the left side. This ball can still obviously hit it, right? If it goes up on this guide. But I want, if you shoot on this thing on the left, I want it to ricochet a very particular way. And right now, this guide here is going to reflect the ball that way. So I think I need to, let's fix that corner. Let's pull that down like this. So now if you reflect here, reflect there, you're going to come down more. You're going to boom, boom, boom. Yeah. That'll reflect it back out more, I think. Yeah, let's do it this way. So you hit here, you come up, you come down, you come back out. Yeah, all right. Yeah, then that should work okay. This post is no longer needed, of course. That was a stopgap idea. Let's hide all of these shots again. Let's show the drop target. Get that repositioned where it needs to be. Basically there-ish. Yeah, now it's not in the way of that. This post down here, it was kind of in the way of that because I'm putting peanuts there, and I don't want the peanut to kind of muck around with things. I mean, really, ideally, I want it to be more like this. So I'm gonna adjust that hole ever so slightly, just so it's more like this. So it's a little further away from that. So this needs to come down slightly more like this. And then this should shift up a tickle to about there. Okay, so now that drop target is definitely more separated from things. That post is still the same. This is 3 separate rails that all exit out the way they need to exit out over there. This rail can now come way the hell up, now that I know what actually needs to happen with that rail. Guides metal, that's this thing. Now notice this has that original orbit I had, and all I did was, yeah, 3 inches is good. And all I did was, actually 2 7/8 better. And all I did was just trim it and make some adjustments. It was just easier that way. So now if I go back to the sketch, edit the sketch, so it goes and actually exit out where I want it to exit. fix to about there. This whole length is about 2.5. No, 2.25. 2.25. Perfect. So then the ball kind of come out and dribble through. Plenty of space for a switch right there. Cool. Turning up and around. This is now adjusted a little bit too, so it's not nearly as steep of an angle. And again, some of that was because the rail that I had, the metal that I had to work with was so big, and I had to kind of fiddle around with it. And this is going to be much more custom to what I need it to be. All right, so now it's time to make those rails for realsies. Oh, there's one more rail I'm going to want to do. Because this rail over here is kind of a pain in the butt. So I think I want to break this up and have this at like 2 separate rails. I do have a post there, which is actually a little bit of a problem. What if I change this so it's just a single rail with like 2 screws, like a tiny thing that's kind of aiming that one, like out that way a little bit? I think it's going to be easier to handle and form and everything, because that's a really tight bend that I just can't do very well. With this metal guide. And all right, so one of the tricks I do for this, for things like this, is let's go to my guides. This guide is called Spinner Loop Left. Spinner loop right, spinner loop left. I'm gonna make a copy of this. I'm gonna call this spinner loop left. Exit. So let's pull this in. So this spinner loop left exit spinner loop left exit is gonna be purely this section over here. All right, how about I isolate this for a second? Okay. Boss extrude. I need this. I want this to be. I can't do that yet, can I? Because of how. Actually, yeah, I can. So because of what this is, because this is its own unique thing, I can take this. I can unfix that. I can keep this fixed. I can unfix this. I can spread it out that way. Yeah, you're gonna complain about everything. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care about this. This length is not going to be equal to that, because this length is going to be 1 inch. Which is almost like I don't want this to be equal to that either. Like 0.5. And then this thing is going to be a double. And really, the only reason I'm making this a double is because I don't want it to shift around when it gets slammed by the ball. There's that. This cut extrude. I have problems with. All right. Like all these other pieces I think I can get rid of, generally speaking, your problem. Yeah, so all these other things I can just get rid of. The fillet, stop it. This fillet, these fillets I want to keep. Everything down here I don't. Come on. Everything down here, yes to all. Now let's keep doing it. Yes to all. And yes to all. Okay, so that's that. I need to add in my chamfer back. This. Here and here, 1/8. Okay, and then finally, sketch. I'm gonna basically kill this all the way around the part that I don't want. Just like all of this. I'm just gonna cut it out, and that'll leave me with the one little piece that I want. Features, extrude cut through all. There we go. So, I mean, this is like a tiny little silly thing, but exit isolate. If I mate this, exit. If I mate the top, this, onto this, and then I move this up to here. This right here, next, I need to edit this component. Not you. I need to edit this component. And I need to kind of do the same thing, but slightly opposite. Here, here, to here, all around this section here. Is essentially going to be trimmed. Extrude cut through all. So that's gone. Okay. And now this piece slides right in over here. And it's going to need to rotate a little bit. So this piece actually needs to be a little smaller, I think. Yeah, this is going to just need to be a little smaller. I actually kind of want it more like this. Well, if I put this centered right on there again, yeah, it's not going to be good. So this needs to come down here. So I guess I can, and this isn't actually going to be that bad. I'll make this back into a single hole. because it will be stopped by this post and this edge piece. So I will modify this. And redo this so this is 1/2 inch again. Get rid of this, get rid of that. Pull this onto here. Make this 1/2 inch. But this edge here, I'm going to move over to 0.25. So now that's more in the center. Okay. So that this is now more good. That's going to reflect weirdly. So can I could move that a little bit because I now have the space to move it and I can aim this down. I kind of want to aim this thing down more. No, down more like this. So when this ricochets off here, it's going to kind of go more in this way. This post is kind of in the way. I kind of want to move this a little bit. So I'm going to go do that. And fix the dimples. So I pull this in and over slightly like this. Why did you not move? Oh, I stupid. Okay. Device holes. You are a part of this. Then you need to float and move there. Which actually technically allows this piece to move in a little bit too. So now this reflection won't bounce off of this as badly, which is something that I'm worried about. This is not as sheltered out anymore, so I should move this in. This is fixed. Need to unfix this. There. And that also means this little hole here needs to shift a little bit. That's the hole that the thing pokes through. doing that, though, this thing... yeah, this thing's gonna need to be adjusted slightly. Because this is now gonna be a little too long for this, and I don't want the target to bounce back and hit it. So let's adjust the length of this just by a little bit. This is 1 inch. I'm gonna make this 7/8 of an inch. Oh, not out. Make this actually 15/16. No, 7/8 is safer. That's safer. And then again, this thing will need to shift and adjust slightly. Be like there. Okay. So that should be fine. This should be better. Can I nestle this in a little bit more? I can. And that also means that the top of this needs to be trimmed down more. That did not attach the way I wanted it to attach. Onto there. You're perpendicular, and you're 1/16 of an inch, because it's really gonna kiss right up against that, and it's gonna be a nice sharp point. Gotta go through all. There we go. Okay, so now I guess I should just move over to here. All right, so now this, no, is a much sharper point, so it's gonna have less rattle coming out of that, which is gonna be much better. Oh, good, right. This isn't actually attached to that post. Oh, thank God. Yeah, I was just worried that that was attached to this post. This metal is aiming right down in here. This metal is aiming not quite down in there, but it's more, at least that way a little bit. But there's enough space there that it's not going to rattle in a weird way. All right. So that fixes those things. I'll save. All right, now to make these 3 rails. So this is going to be, what do I want to call this? The right inner orbit, I guess. So right inner orbit outer is going to be the first guide. Might need to clean this up for a second. We got all these things all over the place. Spinner loop goes into guides metal. Drop target goes into devices. Subway goes into ramps. Where's my ramps? Metal guide center, metal guide center. These go into guides metal. Center diverter assembly goes into devices. Metal guide, sneak over, metal guide, sneak over. These go into metal guides. And the leaf diverter goes into devices. Okay. And I don't need this. Okay, so these are the next three thing guides. Okay, so right middle orbit outer, or right middle orbit left, right middle orbit right, right middle orbit lower, exit. Yeah, sure. Middle uh, guide, middle right inner orbit outer. Metal guides. Right. So let's float this guy. Let's mate the top onto the top. And let's move it roughly into some place that makes sense. Which is like, I guess here-ish. Sure. And now let's fix. Let's isolate. Like that. All right. And edit. So we're going to do a sketch. It's going to be on the top. It's going to convert entities, these things. And I'm going to do a sweep from over here. This is 1/16. This is 1/1/8. And sweep it. All right, there's one. All right, now let's go to the bottom. Let's add our feet. I'm going to put a bunch of feet over on this side. So there's going to be a big set right here. That's a big part where the slam is. I'm going to put another big set over here. Again, because it's going to be very slammy on this thing. These are collinear. It's going to be 1/2 inch. It's going to be 1 inch. And these two things are going to be equal. This is going to be 3/16 of an inch from the edge. That's fine. Then over here, I'll have two of them. One, two. Then you have this curve. Then I have one of them. And Then over here, I need one more. This one's going to be a little bit interesting. I might need to go and fiddle with it. Obviously, this should not be on that edge because this is bigger than 1.5. But this is going to be perpendicular. All right, so now all of these are going to be 1/2 inch. Why are you complaining? Why are you complaining? Why? What? Oh, I know why. Because some of these were already predefined with... Yeah, I understand why. All right, that's those. Mark all my center points. And make my mount holes inside. These are equal. These are equal. Come on. Equal. I said equal. Why? These two things are equal. Stupid program. Really? Okay, and these are 3/16. Extrude. One-16th. Why? Nothing intersects the way that they're supposed. All right. What is your problem? That is the wrong way. I want it this way. Oh, I did a cut extrude. All right, there we go. So this right here might become a problem because I do have that cutout hole. So I'm going to need to figure out where that is in a moment before I can call this out. Ow. Rail done. Ow. Actually, I should do that now. Let's show this. Yeah, okay, that goes right on the cutout hole. So obviously I can't do that. Well, that's a bit annoying, isn't it? Well, I'm gonna have to put one more pad right here. And then this whole thing's going to need to be floating a little bit. All right. It is what it is. This can't be equal. This can't be there. This can't be there. This and this are equal. This and this are equal. Why? No, I don't want that. Oh, come on. And this is going to be 0.75 over. Again, this is like the biggest slam area, so this will be fine. Why was that showing as two separate? All right. Well, I don't need this anymore. Sketch. Now let's convert a bunch of these things and make my little cut area. This is going to end up being an 1/8 of an inch up to allow for fillets, like bend fillets, to work. Make sure that this is perpendicular before I move and go somewhere else. All right. Sketch and cut 1/8 or 1/8. Okay. So that gives me that. And now it's fillet and chamfer. No, stop that. What plane is on this? Get off of that. It's all going to be 1/8. Oh, come on. Delete the edge. Delete the edge. Delete the plane. Thank you. Yeah, these are all 1/8, 45 degrees. That's good. The fillet. So first it's 1/32. And this is the inner one. Not that one. This one. And then 3/32 for the outer one. And that is roughly equal to what the actual bend is going to be. And there is rail number 1 of 3. All right, let's exit isolation and let's see how this works over here. So this is cutting into the ramp footprint, which is what I was kind of afraid of right here. So something I'm going to do in this case, because I think it's going to be fine, this area isn't going to get a lot of rattle. You're not slamming into it or anything like that, so I don't think I'm going to put a footprint at all over here, and I'm just going to bend it, and it's going to kind of flap a little bit. Though I could... maybe I should just make like a little hole like I did with that other thing, just so it kind of goes in and doesn't move around too much. Also, this is sticking in a little too far. All right. Well, that I can adjust with this. Is this if I fix this? And change this to 1/2. Now it's not going to go into that. And I know there are going to be some problems with this. But that's fine because I think... yeah, this is just going to go away. Let's fix the hole size here. 3/16. Okay. Let's fix this. Because obviously this is wrong. Come on. And what I actually want to do is... actually, if I let... yeah, I can cut that, because then that'll fix all that. What? Yeah, this now is missing a couple of edges. That's fine. This is missing an edge. That's fine. This is missing an edge. That's fine. Okay, and now edit, rebuild. You shouldn't have any... yeah, you don't have any problems. All right, let's isolate this. Let's look on the bottom again. And now this section, I'm going to just add a little thing that pokes through. So it's 1/8 of an inch to get to the ground. So this is gonna get me to the ground. And I'm gonna have it a little offset from the edge. Why are you from? Because you're not. Yeah. I'm gonna have it a little offset from the edge because I don't want it to get in the way of various things. Features extrude. I put the sketch in... I put the fucking sketch in the wrong spot. Come on. 1/8. Extrude 1/8. Brings it back down to before. Then this sketch the 0.25 going to be centered. Actually, it's going to be less than 0.25. It's going to be 1/8. I need something for it to sit on. And this features extrude is going to go down 3/8. I'm going to put a little bit of a chamfer on this. That'll go right into the thing. Yeah. That'll go right into the ground. And now, if I show the playfield, there should not be any conflicts. Yeah, there's no conflicts there anymore. Where is through holes? So this needs that. What's 2 millimeters? 2 millimeters is that, so this can be 3/16. I'm sorry, 3/32. Put this over here. Fix that, then shrink it down to 3/32. So it goes right into the hole. All right, so that's a guide. Also, I need to update my dimples. So a dimple goes here. A dimple goes here. Dimple goes here. Dimple goes here. And a dimple. I have more dimples on this side. Dimple goes here. A dimple goes here. All right. Look, there's another conflict that's happening right here, which is wonderful. Guides, middle. What am I looking for? I'm looking for middle guide, spinner, loop, right, show, and boom, there's the conflict. So in this case, I mean, what would the priority be here? They're both kind of important. I would say this was probably more important because it's literally getting slammed and deflecting, and this is more grazing it. Oh, and that has a conflict down there too. Ah, okay. Um, oh, well, if there's a post here, wait a minute. There's a post there. Because that can literally come and hit. Well, that's protecting it a little bit. Didn't exactly want to have to affect this. But and that screws with that again. Oi. Um, I mean, that's way the hell out there. I don't want to do that. That's way the hell out there. So, but because there's a post right there, what I can do and pull this a little closer. That's more against it. So that post is going to help prevent that from breaking in, which means this. Uh, 9/16 probably about right. 1 plus 1/16 plus 1/16. Yeah, that just does it. They really want good slam protection against this. Plus 132. Okay. Yeah, I really want good slam protection on this wall. That loops up and around. That goes in through that. And just for funsies, edit this. I'm going to add this onto this hole. I'm going to say this is 3/8. So yeah, 3/8 will be fine. Right there. Okay. Just making sure because 3/8 is basically the post size that I'm going to be getting for this thing. And if this is going to conflict with the post, that's not a good thing. Okay, one down. Next. Save this. That took a bunch of Mickey Mouse to get working. Okay, next one is um new part. guide metal right inner orbit entrance inner. I these names are getting kind of wonky, but you know, it is what it is. This is going to be saved in the external file. Okay, so now let's move this into position and wash, rinse, repeat. Just like the previous one. Come on, move. Somewhere over here. And show this. Okay. Components. Edit. Pop. Sketch. Convert entities. All of these things. All right, so this one is going to be interesting because I need to put a little spade connector down here. I don't have enough room to mount anything, I don't think. I'll find out in a second. And I need this plane goes here and here. One 16. 1 and 1/8. Sweep feature. Okay, time to check to see how that looks. I think I might have the space. I mean, right there, I clearly don't, but I also cut too much of a footprint there. Yeah, I cut way too much of a footprint for this ramp. Hard to see, but the ramp edge ends like way over here. So I've already adjusted that on this. I think I can just get a footprint right here. I'm gonna give it a shot. I do need to hide this again so I can select things. I'm gonna give that a shot. Obviously this is fine. That's not fine. This over here will be fine. I'm going to put a double here also because Not only is there a little bit of a slam from this thing, there's a big slam from the front-facing one. And then there's going to be a single right up over here somewhere. So these are going to be equal. These are going to be equal. And these are going to be probably not equal. So I'm not going to say equal to that. So these are going to be equal. This is going to be, yeah, okay. That's 1 inch. Good. Why can I? Oh, because I didn't define the height. Right. So this is 1/2 inch. I'm gonna say this is 1/2 inch for actually. I can just show the play field. Okay. That isn't actually that bad. But I'm gonna say 7/16. I'm just gonna. Well, I can probably say 15/32 actually. That's pretty close. So that's almost 1/2 inch. That's pretty good. When I draw these lines, though, so this line needs to be slightly different than normal. Okay, and this is going to need to move. But I can move that easily enough. By saying there. That's okay. Creates. And that'll be more than enough space for that posts. Good point. All right. Now this here, these need to be collinear. I think they already are. But these need to be perpendicular. This should be equal. This should be equal. Stop clicking that. And this one, however, should be 0.25 because that's not quite half. Since it's a tickle smaller, so I need to make sure I take that in consideration here. You're not going to let me select the midpoint, so I'm going to manually do it. All right, then all these are going to be 3/16 as per usual. Come on. Equal. What the hell else? Arcs? Get off of the face. 16. I'm going to say for now, this is going to be 1/2 inch from the edge. It might need to be a little bit more. I'll know in a minute when I look at some of the other lines. So that, yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. Because this section here, again, whoops. This section here is going to be a bend. It's not going to be mounted. There's no reason for me to mount that. Because it's just going to be kind of a curvature down. Well, I mean, I could do another through-holey type thing. No reason why I can't, because that'll fit there fine. Yeah, I'll do a small through hole right there. That'll fit fine that way. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. This features extrude on 16th. I don't need to see this anymore. Actually, I do need to see it for a second. No, that's fine. Okay. So now let's sketch this. Let's convert some of these entities. Let's make our 1/8 inch cut and then round the corners that need to be rounded. You did not do what I wanted you to do. Oh my god. Oh my god. Come on. That one. Okay. Features extrude cut 1/8. Okay. Chamfer, this is 1/8. 3/5. There's that. Fillet 132. It's the inner one. And 332 is the outer one. Okay. There's that one. That guide which goes kisses right up against things as needed. All right, one more guide to go in this, which is that one. Now this one over here is going to be slightly different because this side here, go to it. Did I not take that picture? I thought I did. Anyways, because this is like exactly a ball height, I can't really fit 1 1/8 high because that's only 1 1/16. So but the ball only rides on the upper 3/4 of an inch guide. So I'm gonna make this a 1 inch high guide, which should be fine. Um, because again, there's not really any place for the ball to fly up and go to under here because there's not a lot of space. But the 1 inch guide will be enough to fit underneath comfortably the ramp without bothering the ramp and tilt and everything, but also be more than fat enough for the ball to kind of ride against. But before I do that, I might as well add dimples for this other thing. So let's isolate this. Let's show this. And let's edit this and add dimples. Now, I think I've used up most of my other dimples already. Yeah. So I need to create some new dimple, especially for this. These are just circles that I set the um, diameter equal to one of these other dimples. It's not that big of a deal. Cool. There we go. And boom, we now have dimples for that rail as well. That's these two rails. That goes in, that deflects up and around fine. That comes up, that will deflect perfectly fine. This is exciting to get this little ball path in too. This really kind of fleshes the game out quite a bit. All right. Guide metal, right inner orbit, uh, entrance inner, uh, right middle orbit, exit inner. Sure. New part. Guide metal, right inner orbit, exit inner. Okay. Load this. Meet this. Grab this. Move it to about there. Fix. And isolate. Okay. So now this, as I said, it's only going to be so I'll usually do 1 1/8 inch and trim off 1/8 of an inch. Now I'm going to only do 1 inch, but I'm still going to trim off 1/8 of an inch, which, like I said, gives about 7/8 of an inch play for the ball, and the ball only needs like what is it? 7/16. No, it needs 11/32 up, so a little less than 7/16. So there will be plenty of rail for the ball to go across. Okay, so this, and this. Nope, sorry. Pop, sketch. Now convert entities. This, and this. Okay. Then we will start. I mean, this side can't really move too much, so I might as well plane across this point. One 1/16, 1 inch. Features extrude, sweep, Okay. Next, I need to show this because there's a conflict right here. So if I take this and I pull this a little more down this way, like that removes that conflict. And I still have enough space to kind of stick something down in there so it doesn't move around. So basically, when I go to assemble this, first I'll put this rail, then I'll put this rail. Otherwise, the screw will be in the way, or this rail will be in the way of the screw. Sketch. The exit needs to be out a little bit, or the exit mounting point needs to be out a little bit, because I have mounting points of that other actual orbit. And this doesn't need to be all that strong because there's no real, again, there's no major slamming here, and it's at enough of an angle that it'll be okay. I'll make this, what is it, 3/8? 0.25 is fine. 5. They're all equal. This goes in the middle. And these are 3/16. Okay. And I'll do the bottom cut. Now I'm going to cut all the way on the edge here because I might as well for now. And then I can go back later on. Come on, connect the lines. Stop failing. Convert entities. All these can be converted pretty easily. Yeah, because I can always come back and extend this out. I'm still not really convinced I need to do that with this. What's the worst this can do? Bend in a little bit and then this is deflected a little. I don't know if I need to. Did that not convert? Features extrude cut. Eighth. Yeah, so now that's plenty high, so it's not going to get in the way of the screw. Well, it will get in the way of the screw a little bit over there, won't it? Okay, well, what I can do is I can do a special case with this, because I don't want to screw up too much of this. But I can say, over here, extrude cut, convert entities. And this is going to go, this is going to be another 1/8 up. So that will fully get past all of that. And that definitely weakens this a little bit more, doesn't it? So I wonder, just for shits and giggles, um, this thing here, what diameter are you? You're 2.5. That will make life a little easier. And we're gonna call you 1/8. Oh, I see what's going on. I don't want to do that because this is shimmying all over the place. Yeah, let's do that because now this curls up and pretty much butts against that thing. And I don't think I really need, yeah, because that's going to be pretty solid. I don't think I need anything special over there. Actually, since that's 1/8, I can pretty easily do this. And then, well, let's take care of the standard elements first. Hang on. Features, like 132 on the inside. $332 on the outside. And chamfers 1/8 45. Okay, now this thing. If I just take this and go, not that. I wish I could just lock this in place. It's dumb that it keeps moving around every time I accidentally wobble click. All right, sketch. Features extrude. So 1/8 plus 1/8 brings me to the surface level. Then plus 3/8 sends me inside. Chamfer divided by 2. Then I'll make a little hole right there that goes into. And that should solve any movement problems. But don't. 1/8. So this won't quite fit in that hole, but it'll just barely fit in, and then I can tap it in with the hammer, and it'll get really snug and not go anywhere. And so it's basically kind of like a nail built into the thing. I have a couple of those on these rails over here. Yeah, like right here. That's what those are. Those are also nail spots. Okay. That covers that. That covers all of those. And that covers the new set of guides. There's the new set of guides that feed right out into the orbit. And if I show all the guides again, let's move these things into the guide. Oh, my thumb is hurting. Move these into the guides metal. That's wood borders. Come on. Guides metal. Guides metal. And then let's show. Oh, I need to add dimples, right? So that's all of these suckers. So this thing here, let's go face down. This thing here can extend a little bit more, so it's not skimping off that. So 2 2 1/4 plus 1/8. Yeah, sure. That'll do it. They still want it set back a little bit because if it's sticking out at all, it could be a lip that then prevents this from going the uh, up the orbit shot. So that's cool. These are all the guides on this game. Yeah, I mostly have metal guides. I have very, very little rubber. And the rubber that is here is mostly just black rubber posts. Like a lot of my games end up being kind of like this. Post metal. They like most of the rubber that's here is these posts. These black rubber posts. And yes, I know this guide is kind of in the front over there, but like I said earlier, there's a target in the way, so the target will help block that. And that said, actually, this target, I keep wanting to move this target a little bit. I really do keep wanting to move it, but if I move that target at all, then that affects the shot. And the shot is already... Oh no, that shot can go right into that, can't it? Alright, well, I'm convinced now I should move that target a little bit. now that shot. That grazes that. How badly is this affected? No, that's not affected too bad. No, that's really not affected too bad. Okay. Because there's still plenty of space to graze past these things. And to graze past that and to go up. And this is assuming a 2-inch shot size, which is very reasonable. So pulling that target over a little bit more also will help the entrance of this thing a little bit. Which is good. All right. Well, I think those. I think that's the end of it. Well, I do need a reflector right here. I might as well make that reflector. I'm gonna let's save this because everything is cancel. Exit isolation. Guides metal. Okay. Save part in external file. All right. Specify. Okay. I forgot to do that. Now it's all saved. Okay, so now I need to create a reflector. This is going to be called... Actually, I can just come over here. File, new, art, write, sketch. So this is going to be 1 inch. This is going to be 1 inch. This is going to be 1 inch. And this curve is going to be 132. Features, front, sketch. Be midpoint. Be 116. This is going to be 1 inch, and I can adjust this after it goes in. Features. Sweep. All right. Okay. This will be 332. This is my bad. Okay. Chamfer here and here. 1/8, 45. I'll round the top so you don't get stabbed. Sketch. 1, 2, 3. These are all going to be 3/32 or 3/16. Okay. Through all. I need to mark the bend area. So let's go to the bottom. Sketch. Actually, what would be a good way to do this? Um, Go to the right. Here to here. Here to here. Here. Okay. Extrude cut 1/8 or 1/3/32 in both directions. That'll trim out a little center hole. So now I'll know where to line things up and fold. And I mean, I could make a hole in the middle and then put a little bumper pad, but I don't think I need to. Save. Pumpkin King parts. Brackets. This is standard deflector 1 inch. There's nothing special about it. Okay, so now let's add this over here in the back here. Hide this. Brackets. U. Mate. Here. And you will rotate like that. So that will force the ball into the subway. Make sure this is, make sure this is lined up properly. Or properly enough, at least. Okay, and then this is going to extend out a little bit. This can extend out a little bit. Make this 1 inch. Let's make this perpendicular. Make this 3/4. Okay. And the same thing with this one. Make this 1 inch. Okay, yeah, I mean, the ball's not getting out of that. Okay, that's those, that's that. I need to add more dimples. And then I need to adjust some device holes. So I have dimples for this thing and dimples for that thing that need to be created. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. These are all equal to the dimple size. Okay. Device holes. This should get adjusted a little bit. Over to there, maybe. Yeah, I mean this is kind of in the middle of where I can see down and to feed things. That's fine. Um, yeah, okay. There should be a way to show. Oh, okay. Well, a device ramps show. Come on, show all of them. Edit, rebuild. Oh, God, that scared me for a second. That really scared me. I hid the ramp plastic, not the assembly, and I'm like, what's going on? Oh, and this is the wrong. I don't need that anymore. Um, the same thing with this one. I hid the plastic, but not. Okay. Wood borders. What are you complaining about here? Yeah, I don't need that sketch anymore. Orbit V3. I don't need that sketch anymore. Sketch. This is. I don't need that sketch anymore either. is that sketch? I don't even know what that sketch is. Ow. Okay, I do need you. What is your problem? Oh. That it? Yeah, it was it. Okay. All right. So I got this thing effectively done. Now, obviously, I don't have all the plastics made. Obviously, I don't have all the details and sceneries and everything made. I don't need this anymore either. But as far as the main meat and potatoes of the ball paths and things, I think I got everything that I need in here, and I don't need these anymore either. And yeah, I know there's some. I don't need that anymore. And I don't need. That. I don't need that. Okay. Will you stop for a minute? Okay. Edit. Rebuild. File. File. Save. All right. Good. So yeah, I think this is the vast majority of everything that I need. And if anyone's watching, the playfield ultimately looks like this. So this is probably the final playfield with all the ball paths and posts and everything that I need. Again, doesn't have all the toys, doesn't have all the necessarily all the posts and things for plastics and whatnot, but this is effectively everything. So, yeah, I think that does it for me today. Over the next week or week and a half, I'm going to cut another playfield. I'm going to form some more ramps because the ramps I made, they work fine, but the bucks aren't quite right, so I need to make some modifications. I was kind of rushing on the bucks. And I'm going to send all of these guides out to be manufactured since I know it plays well. Until next time, I will see y'all.